The morning sun cast long shadows across the landing platform of New Terra Prime. Kyung-ho Park stood at the edge of the metal deck, watching the alien ships descend through the orange sky. His hands were calm at his sides, but his mind raced with questions. Today would change everything for humanity. Behind him, Sora Kim checked her tablet one more time. The engineering data was ready. 3 months of work, preparing humanity's best technology for the Galactic Council's review. She hoped it would be enough to earn them a place among the stars. "They're bigger than I expected," said Dongmin Lee, adjusting his glasses as he watched the ships land. The historian had spent weeks studying what little they knew about these alien species. Now he would meet them face to face. The first ship touched down with barely a sound. Its surface looked like flowing liquid metal, shifting and changing as they watched. The second ship was different, covered in what looked like insect wings that folded and unfolded in complex patterns. Both ships were beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Kyung-ho straightened his uniform. As Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Council, he carried the hopes of billions of humans. This first meeting would decide if humanity would join the galactic community or remain alone among the stars. The ships opened without doors or ramps. Instead, sections of their hulls simply melted away. From the liquid metal ship stepped a being that looked like living crystal. Light danced through its body in rainbow patterns. This was Ambassador Christhera of the Veltari. From the insect ship came something that walked on 6 legs and had wings that caught the sunlight. Its compound eyes reflected the world in 1,000 pieces. Commander Buzzcut of the Zephani clicked and hummed as it moved. "Welcome to New Terra Prime," Kyung-ho said, bowing slightly. "We are honored by your visit." Christhera's voice sounded like wind chimes. "Human Ambassador Park. We have traveled far to evaluate your species for membership in the Galactic Council." Buzzcut's voice buzzed like a swarm of bees. "Your application has been reviewed. We are here to offer our assistance to your primitive civilization." Sora felt her jaw tighten at the word primitive, but she kept her face calm. Dongmin made a small note on his tablet. The aliens' attitude was clear from the start. They moved to the conference room inside the colony's main building. The walls were lined with screens showing Earth's history and humanity's achievements. The aliens barely glanced at them. "Please sit." Kyung-ho gestured to chairs that had been specially made for their guests. "We have prepared presentations on our technology and culture." Christhera settled onto its chair with a sound like breaking glass. "That will not be necessary. We have already reviewed your submissions." "Indeed," Buzzcut agreed. "We must say we are surprised that a species with such basic technology managed to reach this system." Sora leaned forward. "Our fusion reactors and faster-than-light drives may seem simple, but they work well for us." The aliens made sounds that might have been laughter. Christhera's body flashed with bright colors. "Fusion reactors? You mean those crude plasma containers? And your FTL system is just unstable quantum tunneling. Your computers are particularly amusing," Buzzcut added. "Basic pattern recognition systems that you call artificial intelligence." Dongmin watched the aliens carefully. Something about their words bothered him, but he couldn't put his finger on what it was. "We understand your technology may be more advanced," Kyung-ho said diplomatically. "We would be grateful to learn from your experience." "Of course," Christhera said, its voice full of what sounded like pity. "The Galactic Council has a long tradition of helping younger species. We can provide you with proper technology to replace your current systems." Buzzcut's wings buzzed with excitement. "In time, you may even reach the level of a Class 3 civilization. With our help, naturally." Sora bit back her first response. Instead, she asked, "Could you show us some of your technology? We would love to understand how it works." "Certainly." Christhera stood and walked to the center of the room. From somewhere in its crystalline body, it produced a small device. "This is a gravitational manipulation unit, watch." The device hummed to life. The conference table slowly rose into the air, floating as if it weighed nothing. The humans watched with interest, but not with the awe the aliens seemed to expect. "Impressive," Kyung-ho said. "How does the quantum field generator maintain stability?" Christhera's colors flickered in what might have been surprise. "The quantum field generator?" "Yes," Sora added. "The field harmonics must be incredibly precise to avoid gravitational shear." "How do you compensate for the natural frequency drift?" Buzzcut's compound eyes seemed to focus more intently on the humans. "You understand gravitational field theory?" "The basics," Sora replied modestly. We've done some work with gravity manipulation ourselves, though nothing as elegant as your device. The table settled back to the floor. Kristhara and Buzzcat exchanged what the humans guessed were meaningful looks. Perhaps, Kristhara said slowly, we should examine your current technology more closely, to better understand how to help you, of course. We would be happy to arrange tours of our facilities, Kyung-ho offered. Over the next hour, the aliens asked increasingly detailed questions about human technology. Their initial dismissive attitude began to change to something that looked more like confusion. When Dongmin showed them historical records of human space exploration, Buzzcat stopped him. This fusion engine design, where did you develop it? Our engineers created it about 300 years ago, Dongmin replied, though the basic principles go back much further. 300 years? Kristhara's voice rose higher. You have had this technology for 300 years? Oh, much longer than that, Sora said. We've been using fusion power for over 700 years. The space-worthy versions came later. The aliens fell silent. Finally, Kristhara spoke. We think we should postpone the rest of today's meetings. We need to consult with our governments. Of course, Kyung-ho said. Take all the time you need. As the aliens left for their ships, the three humans remained in the conference room. Did that seem strange to you? Sora asked. Very strange, Dongmin agreed. They seemed surprised by things they shouldn't have been surprised by. Kyung-ho stared out the window at the alien ships. I get the feeling we're missing something important. Something about their technology seemed familiar. Familiar how? Sora asked. I'm not sure yet, Kyung-ho replied. But I think we should look more closely at everything they showed us today. As the alien ships lifted off to orbit the planet, none of the humans knew that their questions had started a chain of events that would shake the foundations of the galactic community. The truth about humanity's place in the galaxy was about to emerge, and it would change everything. Jin-Woo Choi wiped the sweat from his forehead as he crawled out from under the archive server. The museum's basement was always too warm, but today felt worse than usual. He had been working on the old Earth Colonial Archive system for 3 days straight, trying to fix the corrupted data files that kept appearing. Another glitch, he muttered to himself, looking at his diagnostic tablet. The system showed thousands of fragmented files that seemed to come from nowhere. Most maintenance workers would have just deleted them and moved on. But Jin-Woo was curious by nature. He sat on the floor and opened the files on his tablet. Most were just garbage data, random strings of numbers and letters that meant nothing. But some files looked different. They had structure, like they were trying to rebuild themselves from broken pieces. What are you trying to tell me? Jin-Woo whispered to the tablet screen. Upstairs, Hee-Jin-Yoon was giving a tour to a group of school children. The new Terra Prime Historical Museum was small but well organized. She loved her job as head curator, especially when she could share humanity's history with young minds. This section shows how our ancestors traveled from Earth to build our colony, she explained, pointing to a display of old spacecraft models. They were brave explorers who dreamed of life among the stars. One little girl raised her hand. Ms. Yoon, why did they stop talking to Earth? Hee-Jin's smile faded slightly. We don't know for sure. About 400 years ago, all communication with Earth stopped. We've been on our own ever since. The tour ended and Hye-Jin returned to her office. Her computer showed a message from Jin-Woo in the basement. He wanted to see her about something urgent. She found him surrounded by tablets and portable screens, all showing fragments of data. His usually neat workspace looked like a storm had hit it. Jin-Woo, what's all this? She asked. I think I found something, he said, his voice excited but tired. These files that keep appearing in the archive system, they're not random. Look at this. He showed her a screen full of technical drawings. The lines and symbols meant nothing to Hye-Jin, but they looked organized and purposeful. Where did these come from? She asked. That's the strange part, Jin-Woo replied. The system says they're 700 years old, from Earth's Great Expansion period, but they were corrupted, scattered across the data storage in tiny pieces. The system has been trying to put them back together for who knows how long. Hee-Jin leaned closer to the screen. 700 years? That would be before the colony was even built. Exactly. And look at this. Jin-Woo switched to another screen. These drawings match the technology those aliens showed us yesterday. My brother works in engineering and he told me about the meeting. Hee-Jin felt a chill run down her spine. She had heard about the alien visit, of course. Everyone in the colony was talking about it, but she hadn't connected it to her museum's archives. "Are you sure about this?" she asked. "Pretty sure, but I'm just a maintenance guy. I need someone who understands this stuff to look at it." Hee-jin thought for a moment. "I know someone. Dongmin Lee from the diplomatic team. He's a historian, and he was at the meeting with the aliens." She used her secure communication device to call Dongmin. The connection took a few minutes to establish. The diplomatic compound had extra security during the alien visit. "Hee-jin?" Dongmin's voice came through clearly. "This is unexpected. Dongmin, I need you to see something. It might be important for your negotiations. Can you tell me what it is?" Hee-jin looked at Jinwoo, who nodded encouragingly. "We found old technical files in our archives. They look like the technology the aliens showed you." There was silence on the other end for several seconds. "How old?" 700 years. I'll be there in an hour." While they waited, Hee-jin and Jinwoo organized the files as best they could. The data fragments were slowly rebuilding themselves into complete documents. Whatever system had created these files was incredibly advanced. It was healing damage that had accumulated over centuries. When Dongmin arrived, he brought 2 other people with him. "This is So-ra Kim, our chief engineer, and Tae-ho Sung. Mr. Sung is retired, but he used to work on the old colonial systems." Tae-ho was an elderly man with kind eyes and steady hands. He looked at the screens with growing amazement. "I haven't seen interfaces like this in 50 years, he said softly. "Do you recognize the technology?" So-ra asked, studying the technical drawings. Tae-ho was quiet for a long time. His weathered fingers traced patterns on the screen. "These blueprints. I helped build some of these systems when I was young." Everyone turned to stare at him. "That's impossible," Jinwoo said. "These files are 700 years old." "No," Tae-ho shook his head. "These particular files might be 700 years old, but the designs—" "I worked on updated versions of these same systems. We built them into the colony's infrastructure 40 years ago." So-ra pulled up the technical specifications on her own tablet. "Mr. Sung, are you saying our current systems are based on these old Earth designs?" "Based on them? No." Tae-ho's voice was firm. "Our systems are these designs. Improved, modified, but fundamentally the same." Dongmin felt pieces of a puzzle clicking together in his mind. "The aliens yesterday, they seemed surprised when we asked technical questions about their technology." "More than surprised," So-ra added. "They seemed confused, like they didn't expect us to understand the principles." "What if," Hee-jin said slowly, "what if their technology and our technology come from the same source?" Tae-ho nodded grimly. "What if they both come from old Earth?" Jinwoo's hands flew over his tablet, bringing up more recovered files. "There's more here, lots more. The system is still rebuilding data. Some of these files talk about construction projects, colony ships, automated factories." "Automated factories?" So-ra leaned forward. "What kind of factories?" "The files are fragmented, but it looks like Earth built self-replicating manufacturing systems. They were supposed to spread across space, building infrastructure for human expansion." Dongmin's historian mind was working fast. 700 years ago was the height of Earth's expansion period. They launched colony ships in every direction. But the expansion stopped, Hee-jin said. Earth went silent. "What if the expansion didn't stop?" Tae-ho asked quietly. "What if it continued without Earth?" They all looked at each other as the implications sank in. "The automated systems," So-ra whispered. "If Earth built self-replicating factories and sent them out with the colony ships, they could have spread human technology across the galaxy." Dongmin finished. "But then where did the aliens get it?" Jinwoo asked. "Maybe," Hee-jin said carefully. "They found the factories, found the technology, and thought it was abandoned. Or maybe," Tae-ho said grimly, "they found human colonies that couldn't defend themselves." The room fell silent except for the hum of computers and the soft sound of data being reconstructed. They were looking at evidence that could rewrite galactic history, and they all knew it. "We need more information," Dongmin said finally. "Can you recover more files?" "The system is working on it," Jinwoo replied. "But it might take days or weeks to get everything." "We might not have that long," So-ra said. "The aliens are expecting an answer about the technology transfer soon." "Then we work faster," Hee-jin decided. "Jinwoo, can you speed up the recovery process?" "I can try, but I'll need help, and we should probably keep this quiet until we know more." Dongmin nodded. "Agreed. If we're right about this, it could change everything, and not everyone might be happy about that. As they made plans to dig deeper into the archives, none of them noticed the small monitoring device that had been quietly recording their conversation. In orbit above the planet, alien computers were already analyzing their words and sending urgent messages across the galaxy. The truth about humanity's forgotten legacy was emerging, and powerful forces were moving to stop it. Mi Young-oh had not slept in 36 hours. The head of quantum archaeology rarely worked on such urgent projects, but the evidence from the museum had changed everything. Her team was now working around the clock in the colony's most secure facility, deep underground. "Status report," she called out to her team as she entered the main laboratory. The room was filled with quantum computers that hummed with barely contained energy. "We're making progress," said Jae-sung Kang, looking up from his workstation. Dark circles under his eyes showed he had been working as hard as Mi Young. "The quantum reconstruction is revealing more data every hour." Yujin Bei waved from across the room. "Mi Young, you need to see this. We found something big." Mi Young walked over to Yujin's station where holographic displays showed three-dimensional maps of space. Lines connected star systems in a web that stretched across the galaxy. "What am I looking at?" Mi Young asked. "Trade routes," Yujin replied, "but not current ones. These are from 700 years ago. The data shows Earth didn't just send colony ships to a few nearby systems. They sent them everywhere." Jae-sung joined them, carrying a tablet full of data. "The scope is incredible. Earth launched thousands of ships over a period of 50 years. Each ship carried automated construction systems and manufacturing templates." "Manufacturing templates for what?" Mi Young asked. "Everything," Yujin said, her voice filled with awe. "Power systems, computers, spacecraft, weapons, medical equipment. The ships were supposed to build complete human civilizations wherever they landed." Mi Young studied the holographic map. The web of connections was vast, covering most of the known galaxy. "What happened to all these colonies?" "That's what we're trying to figure out," Jae-sung said. "But we found something else, names." He switched the display to show personnel records. Thousands of names scrolled past, along with photos and biographical information. The leader of the entire project was someone called Master Engineer Sang-hyuk Lim. Jae-sung continued. "According to these records, he designed the automated systems that were supposed to spread human technology across the galaxy." Mi Young felt a chill, and it worked. "It worked too well," Yujin said grimly. "Look at this." The display changed to show technical specifications. Page after page of blueprints, schematics, and design documents scrolled past. "These are the templates the colony ships carried," Yujin explained. "Every major piece of technology the galactic species use today. Fusion reactors, faster-than-light drives, artificial intelligence systems, gravitational manipulation devices, all of it. All human designs," Jae-sung added, "created by human engineers 700 years ago." Mi Young sat down heavily in a nearby chair. The implications were staggering. "The aliens aren't more advanced than us. They're using our own technology." "It gets worse," Yujin said. "We found evidence that some species have been deliberately hiding the truth." She brought up another set of documents. These were more recent, dated within the last 200 years. "Internal communications between alien governments," Yujin explained. "They discuss managing the human problem and maintaining technological superiority. They know where their technology really came from." Jae-sung pointed to specific passages in the documents. "Look at this. The Veltari High Council debate whether to eliminate remaining human settlements or integrate them under controlled conditions." "And this," Yujin added, highlighting another section. "The Zefani military discusses preventing human technological resurgence by keeping human colonies isolated and underdeveloped." Mi Young stood up and began pacing. "They've been keeping us isolated on purpose, making sure we couldn't connect with other human colonies or rediscover our own history." "There's more," Jae-sung said quietly. "We found locations." The holographic display changed again, showing a map of current space. Red dots appeared scattered across hundreds of star systems. "What are those?" Mi Young asked. "Human colonies," Yujin replied. "Still active. Still populated." The quantum archaeology systems found recent communication attempts between isolated human settlements. Mi Young stared at the map. There were hundreds of red dots. "How many humans are we talking about?" "Conservative estimates suggest billions," Jae-sung said. maybe tens of billions. Scattered across the galaxy in small colonies, most of them unaware that other human settlements exist. And the aliens have been keeping them separate, Mi-young said. Divide and control. It's worse than that, Yujin said. Some of the intercepted communication suggests that alien species have been harvesting human technology. When they find a human colony with advanced systems, they study the technology, then either destroy the colony or force the humans into primitive conditions. Mi-young felt anger building in her chest. They've been stealing from us for centuries. A new voice spoke from the laboratory entrance. Not stealing, surviving. Everyone turned to see Commander Bo-ra Han of the colony's defense force. She walked into the room with grim determination. Commander, Mi-young said, how much of this did you hear? Enough, Bo-ra replied. My security systems have been monitoring this project. What you've discovered changes everything. Have you told the diplomatic team? Jae-sung asked. I've informed Ambassador Park. He's deciding how to handle the situation. Bo-ra studied the holographic displays. But there's something you need to know. We detected unusual activity from the alien ships in orbit. What kind of activity? Mi-young asked. Deep space transmissions. High priority, heavily encrypted. They're talking to their home governments about something urgent. Yujin looked worried. Do you think they know what we've discovered? I think they suspected something from the beginning, Bo-ra said. Their behavior during the first meeting was strange. Too many questions about our technology, not enough answers about their own. Mi-young looked at her team. How much more data can we recover? We're at about 60% complete, Jae-sung estimated. Another 12 hours should give us the full picture. We might not have 12 hours, Bo-ra warned. If the aliens decide we're a threat, then we work faster, Mi-young decided. Yujin, focus on the colony locations. If there are billions of humans out there, we need to find a way to contact them. Jae-sung, concentrate on the technical data. We need to understand exactly how much of their technology is actually ours. What about the evidence of alien cover-ups? Yujin asked. Document everything, Bo-ra said. If this goes public, we'll need proof that stands up to scrutiny. Mi-young turned to look at the holographic map one more time. Hundreds of red dots represented human colonies scattered across the galaxy. For centuries, they had believed themselves alone. Now they were discovering they were part of something much larger. There's something else, Jae-sung said quietly. The quantum systems found something that might be more important than all the rest. What? Mi-young asked. Active signals. Not historical data, but current transmissions. Some of the human colonies have been trying to contact each other for decades. They've been sending messages into space, hoping to find other humans. And, Bo-ra prompted, some of those messages have been answered. There's a network out there. Hidden, encrypted, careful, but it exists. Mi-young felt hope and fear in equal measure. A human resistance network? More than that, Jae-sung said. The signals suggest coordinated planning, shared technology development, resource allocation. They're not just surviving in isolation. They're preparing for something. Preparing for what? Yujin asked. To come home, Jae-sung replied. The messages talk about the return and reclaiming the legacy. I think some human colonies have been working toward this moment for centuries. Bo-ra's expression was grim. If that's true, then the aliens have good reason to be worried. They're not just dealing with one isolated colony anymore. They're dealing with a hidden galactic civilization that's been planning its return. Mi-young looked around at her team. They had started this project hoping to verify some old technical files. Instead, they had uncovered evidence of the biggest conspiracy in galactic history. We need to get this information to Ambassador Park immediately, she decided. And we need to be ready for whatever comes next. As alarms began to sound throughout the facility, they realized that whatever comes next was already beginning. The conference room had been prepared with extra security and recording equipment. Ambassador Kyung-ho Park sat at the head of the table, his face calm but his mind racing. Beside him, Chief Scientist Nari Seo arranged holographic display devices while military attaché Hyun Woo-jung checked the room's defensive systems one more time. Are you sure about this? Nari asked quietly. Once we show them what we know, there's no going back. We passed the point of no return days ago, Kyung-ho replied. The only question now is whether we control how the truth comes out. Dongmin Lee entered the room carrying data tablets and followed by the research team. His usually neat appearance was disheveled from 3 days of constant work, but his eyes were bright with determination. Everything's ready, he announced. We have documentation, historical records, and technical proof. The evidence is overwhelming. And our defense systems? Kyung-ho asked Hyunwoo. Active and ready, Hyunwoo confirmed. Though if this goes badly, our ship-based defenses won't hold off a galactic fleet for long. It won't come to that, Kyung-ho said with more confidence than he felt. They need us more than they want to admit. The door chimed, announcing the arrival of the alien delegation. Ambassador Kristhara entered first, its crystalline body flickering with nervous energy patterns. Commander Buzziket followed, wings folded tightly against its insectoid frame. Behind them came a new figure, an ethereal being that seemed to float rather than walk. Ambassador Park, Kristhara said, its voice lacking the superior tone from their first meeting. Thank you for arranging this private session. This is Whisper of Stars, Buzziket introduced the floating being, representative of the ethereal collective. Kyung-ho studied the new arrival. The ethereals were known as the oldest and most advanced species in the galactic community. Their presence suggested this meeting was more important than anyone had admitted. Please sit, Kyung-ho gestured to the alien-adapted chairs. We have much to discuss. As the aliens settled into their seats, Kyung-ho activated the room's holographic display system. A three-dimensional star map appeared above the table, showing trade routes and colony locations across the galaxy. We've made some interesting discoveries since our last meeting, Kyung-ho began. Discoveries that change our understanding of galactic history. Ambassador Park, Kristhara interrupted. Before you continue, we should tell you that our governments have been in contact. There are concerns about your colony's research activities. What kind of concerns? Nari asked. Whisper of Stars spoke for the first time, its voice like distant wind. Your quantum archaeology project has been detected. Deep space monitoring systems show massive data reconstruction efforts. Hyunwoo tensed, his hand moving slightly toward his sidearm. The aliens had been watching them more closely than anyone had realized. Yes, Kyung-ho said calmly. We've been researching our own history. I think you'll find the results enlightening. He nodded to Dongmin, who activated the first presentation. The holographic display changed to show technical blueprints and engineering schematics. These are human technology designs from 700 years ago, Dongmin explained. Created during Earth's Great Expansion period. Buzziket's compound eyes focused intently on the display. Why are you showing us ancient human technology? Because, Nari said, standing and walking to the display. It's not just ancient human technology. It's the foundation of every major technological system used by galactic civilizations today. She manipulated the holographic controls, bringing up side-by-side comparisons. On the left, human blueprints from 7 centuries ago. On the right, current alien technology specifications. Fusion reactor designs, Nari continued. Identical core principles, identical containment methods, identical safety systems. The only differences are cosmetic modifications. Kristhara's body went through a rapid series of color changes. That is impossible. Faster than light drive systems, Dongmin added, switching to the next comparison. Same quantum tunnel generation, same navigation algorithms, same power distribution patterns. Gravitational manipulation devices, Nari said, looking directly at Kristhara. The device you demonstrated for us 3 days ago? The human design is dated 400 years before your species achieved spaceflight. The aliens sat in stunned silence. Whisper of Stars began to emit a low humming sound that the humans recognized as distress. Computer systems, artificial intelligence frameworks, medical technology, weapon systems, Dongmin continued relentlessly. Every advancement your civilizations claim as ancestral heritage traces directly back to human innovation from the 28th century. Kyung-ho leaned forward. The question is, how did human technology spread across the galaxy without any record of human expansion reaching your territories? Buzzkit's wings began to flutter rapidly. These claims are documented, Nari interrupted. With quantum-verified historical records, technical specifications, and personnel files. She activated another display showing the face of an elderly human man. Master Engineer Sang-hyuk Lim, the primary architect of humanity's automated expansion system. His designs created self-replicating manufacturing facilities that spread human technology across the galaxy. But the expansion stopped, Kristhara said weakly. Earth went silent. The expansion continued without Earth, Kyung-ho replied. Automated systems kept building, kept spreading human technology. When younger species discovered these facilities, they reverse-engineered human technology and claimed it as their own. Hyun-woo finished grimly. Whisper of Stars finally spoke again. You have no proof of deliberate appropriation. Dongmin smiled coldly and activated a new display. Internal communications between your governments. Discussions about managing the human problem and maintaining technological superiority. The holographic display showed translated documents, communication logs, and strategic planning sessions. The evidence was overwhelming and damning. 200 years of coordinated effort to keep human colonies isolated, Nari read from the documents. Systematic suppression of human technological development. In some cases, deliberate destruction of human settlements that showed signs of advanced technology. Kristhara's body flickered between rapid color changes. Those documents, where did you... Your own archives, Hyun-woo said. Quantum archaeology doesn't just recover human data. It can reconstruct any fragmented information in digital storage systems. Including, Kyung-ho added, communications that were supposed to be permanently deleted. Buzzaket stood suddenly, wings spreading wide. This is an act of espionage. You have violated our data security. You have violated our species' right to exist freely in the galaxy, Nari replied firmly. For centuries. Dr. Yoonji Kwon, who had been silent until now, stood and walked to a covered object in the corner of the room. She pulled away the cloth, revealing a device that hummed with quiet energy. This is a quantum maintenance system, she announced. It's been running continuously for 700 years. It's been automatically maintaining and repairing technology across the galaxy without anyone realizing it. She activated the device. Suddenly, indicators on all the alien technology in the room began flashing. Your ships, your equipment, your entire technological infrastructure, Dr. Kwon continued. It's all been dependent on automated human maintenance systems. Systems you never knew existed because you never understood the underlying principles. Kristhara made a sound like shattering glass. That's impossible. Your gravitational manipulation device, Dr. Kwon said to Kristhara. It's been receiving quantum maintenance signals every 3.7 seconds for the past 3 days. Without those signals, the field generator would have failed within hours. She touched a control on the maintenance system. Kristhara's device, still sitting on the conference table, began to spark and smoke. No. Kristhara lunged toward its device, but the damage was already done. We can turn it back on, Dr. Kwon said calmly. But first you need to understand something. Your entire civilization has been running on borrowed technology. Technology you don't truly comprehend. She reactivated the maintenance signal. Kristhara's device stopped smoking and returned to normal operation. The same is true for every piece of technology in your ships, your cities, your entire infrastructure, Kyung-ho said. You've been using advanced human engineering for centuries without realizing it. Whisper of Stars was now emitting a constant low hum. What do you want? The truth, Kyung-ho replied. Acknowledgement of human technological heritage, and answers about what happened to the billions of humans in colonies across the galaxy. Buzzket's wings drooped. Billions? We've located 437 active human colonies, Dongmin said. Many have been deliberately kept isolated and technologically suppressed. Some, Hyun-woo added with cold anger, have been systematically harvested for their technology and then destroyed. The aliens looked at each other, with what the humans could only interpret as panic. If this information becomes public, Kristhara began. It will destabilize the entire galactic power structure, Kyung-ho finished. Which is why we're going to discuss this calmly and find a solution that benefits everyone. What kind of solution? Whisper of Stars asked. Kyung-ho smiled for the first time since the meeting began. The news spread across the galaxy faster than anyone had expected. Within 72 hours of the confrontation, every major civilization knew the truth about their technological heritage. Emergency sessions convened on 100 worlds as governments tried to control the growing crisis. Fleet Admiral Sun Ho Park arrived at New Terra, prime exactly 1 week after his brother's historic meeting with the alien delegation. His task force consisted of 50 human ships, not the largest fleet in the galaxy, but certainly the most technologically sophisticated once the truth was known. Little brother, Sun Ho said as he embraced Kyung Ho on the landing platform. You certainly know how to start a revolution. I prefer to think of it as setting the record straight, Kyung Ho replied. How bad is the situation out there? 3 species have declared martial law, Sun Ho reported. The Zephani military attempted a coup when their government wanted to negotiate, and the ethereal collective has gone completely silent. What about the human colonies? Sun Ho's expression brightened. That's the good news. We've made contact with over 200 colonies so far. Most of them have been secretly preparing for this moment for decades. They walked together toward the conference center, where Grand Engineer Yejin Kim was already setting up for the most important meeting in galactic history. Representatives from dozens of species were arriving hourly, along with delegations from newly contacted human colonies. How are our alien friends handling the situation? Sun Ho asked. Better than expected, Kyung Ho admitted. Ambassador Christhera has been surprisingly cooperative once the initial shock wore off. Commander Buzzket is struggling more with the cultural implications. They entered the conference center to find controlled chaos. Beings from across the galaxy filled the vast space, engaged in heated discussions in dozens of languages. Translation systems worked overtime to keep up with the conversations. At the center of it all, Yejin Kim stood before a massive holographic display showing the galaxy's technological infrastructure. She was explaining to a mixed group of humans and aliens how the automated maintenance systems had been functioning for centuries. The quantum maintenance network, she said, pointing to glowing lines that connected star systems across the galaxy, has been automatically updating and improving technology based on the original human templates. What you thought was natural technological evolution was actually systematic enhancement by machines built by human engineers. A Veltari representative flickered with angry colors. Are you saying our scientists contributed nothing to these advances? Not nothing, Yejin replied diplomatically. Your species adapted and modified the base technologies in creative ways. But the fundamental principles, the core innovations, those came from human research conducted 700 years ago. Kyung Ho made his way through the crowd to where Dongmin Lee was working with a team of historians from various human colonies. They were comparing records and building a complete timeline of galactic technological development. What have you found? Kyung Ho asked. It's remarkable, Dongmin replied, his excitement evident despite his exhaustion. Every human colony kept some historical records. When we combine them all, we get a clear picture of what really happened. He activated a personal holographic display showing a timeline. Earth's expansion was more successful than anyone imagined. Human colonies were established on over 1,000 worlds. They built vast networks of automated factories, research facilities, and communication systems. Then what went wrong? Asked Dr. Elena Vasquez, a historian from the Kepler colony who had arrived that morning. Nothing went wrong with the expansion, Dongmin explained. But Earth itself faced a crisis. Climate disasters, resource depletion, political collapse. Earth went dark not because the expansion failed, but because the home world couldn't maintain contact with its colonies. The colonies were on their own, Dr. Vasquez added. Many thrived for centuries. But when younger alien species began exploring space, they found human technology and infrastructure without finding humans to explain it. Some colonies were still inhabited, said Dr. Marcus Chen from the Centauri settlements. But they were often small, struggling communities that couldn't defend themselves against larger alien civilizations. Kyung Ho felt a familiar anger at the thought of defenseless human colonies being overwhelmed by alien expansion. But today was about building a better future, not dwelling on past injustices. Ambassador Park, a new voice called out. Kyung Ho turned to see Ambassador Christhara approaching, its crystalline body displaying calm blue patterns. Ambassador Christhara, Kyung Ho replied, how are your people adjusting to the new information? With difficulty, Christhara admitted. Our entire cultural identity was built around our technological achievements. Learning that we inherited rather than created our greatest advances has been challenging, but not insurmountable, Kyung Ho suggested. No, Christhara agreed. In fact, some of our scientists are excited by the possibilities. For the first time, we can truly understand the technology we've been using. We can improve it, modify it, perhaps even develop genuinely new innovations. Their conversation was interrupted by an announcement over the facility's communication system. All delegates, please report to the main assembly hall. The Terra Accords are ready for final review. The next 3 hours would determine the future of galactic civilization. The main assembly hall had been configured to accommodate hundreds of beings from dozens of species. Human colonies were represented alongside established alien governments, all working together to create a new framework for galactic society. Kyung-ho took his place at the central podium. The hall fell silent as he began to speak. 7 days ago, we discovered that our understanding of galactic history was incomplete, he began. Today, we have the opportunity to build something better than what came before. He activated the hall's main display, showing the text of the Terra Accords. These agreements acknowledge the human origins of galactic technology, while establishing a framework for true collaborative advancement. The accords were comprehensive but fair. Human technological heritage would be officially recognized, but not at the expense of other species' contributions. Alien governments would help locate and contact isolated human colonies, while humans would share their understanding of the underlying technological principles. Most importantly, Kyung-ho continued, we established the Galactic Institute of Cooperative Technology. Human engineers will work alongside alien scientists to finally understand and improve the technology we've all been using. What about reparations? Called out a representative from the Tau Ceti human colony. Some of our colonies were destroyed by alien expansion. The question caused murmurs throughout the hall. It was the most sensitive issue in the negotiations. The accords establish a restoration fund, Kyung-ho replied. Not as punishment, but as investment in rebuilding what was lost. Every species will contribute according to their ability. Commander Buzzket stood and approached one of the speaking platforms. The Zephani government accepts these terms, it announced. We regret the actions of previous generations and commit to building a better future. One by one, representatives from across the galaxy voiced their acceptance. Some spoke with enthusiasm, others with resignation, but all recognized that the old system was unsustainable. The final vote was unanimous. As the assembly dispersed to begin implementing the accords, Kyung-ho found himself standing with Jin-Woo Choi, the maintenance worker whose curiosity had started everything. Any regrets about fixing those corrupted files? Kyung-ho asked. Jin-Woo smiled. None at all. Though I never expected a routine maintenance job to change galactic civilization. The best discoveries often come from the most unexpected places, Kyung-ho replied. 6 months later, Master Archivist In-ho Song stood in the completed Great Library of Terra, watching students from a dozen species work together on research projects. The library had become the symbol of the new galactic order, a place where knowledge was shared rather than hoarded. Impressive, isn't it? Said Ye-Jin Kim, joining In-ho at the observation deck. Beyond what I imagined possible, In-ho replied. When Jin-Woo first brought those files to the museum, I never thought it would lead to this. Below them, a group of young Veltari were working with human engineers to understand quantum crystallography. Nearby, Zephani researchers collaborated with human biologists on biomechanical integration systems. The irony is beautiful, Ye-Jin observed. For centuries, alien species used human technology without understanding it. Now they're finally learning the principles behind their own tools. And humanity is learning too, In-ho added. The alien modifications to our original designs have created new possibilities we never considered. Jin-Woo Choi walked up to join them, carrying a tablet that displayed data from across the galaxy. As the first director of the Galactic Institute of Human Engineering Legacy, he had become one of the most important people in galactic civilization. The weekly report, he announced. We've now contacted 412 human colonies. Most are eager to rejoin galactic society. Any holdouts? Ye-Jin asked. A few, Jin-Woo admitted. Some colonies are suspicious after centuries of isolation, but they're coming around as they see the benefits of cooperation.